Welcome back to the SMT Media Network. In this video, we're going to take a look at a portion of the full episode that was dropped recently, I think last week, where LeBron, Steve Nash, running the Mind the Game podcast, invite Kevin Durant to the show. And this is the segment where KD and LeBron describe where the game is going. And I'm going to tell you guys, Kobe was right. And LeBron and KD and even Steve Nash admit it in this segment. Let's listen.
And look into possibilities. OKC defensively, pack the paint team, long athletes, keep you out of the rim, flying back out at shooters with athleticism, switchable players. On the other hand, you have Indiana who plays like this beautiful chaos where from the free throw line up, there's blur screens, there's pitches, guard to guard pitches, there's flares while an action's going 21 on this side, flare on that side. Sure, yeah. All this kind of madness. We've become accustomed to trying to keep the floor space. They're flying guys in and out to try to move the help. Tell me a little bit about where you think the game's going from a profile of player, but also like strategically beside both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I think strategically as a team, we've come into organized, random basketball.
I always say jazz. You play off each other, right?
On both ends, because you look at OKC on their defense. I watched Shea, or let's say Jalen Williams get beat off the dribble, and then hit Lou Dort in the corner. He's just, in regular help. But if he get beat off that dribble, he coming over to take that drive, and then here come Jalen Williams to the wing.
Straight corner.
So they do that all around the court, and then on top of that, they got good one-on-one defense, but they are in tandem. Regardless, without even being a scheme, it's just natural.
Kind of random at that end, reading each other.
Exactly.
Which not every team can do.
No, it's hard to do that.
Which is the same thing that Indy is doing offensively.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's how I feel the game is flowing. Because Indy all I've seen is 77 from them. And then, like you said, quick action, pitch up,
get it back,
slip out, big set of screen. But when it's bring it out the net, inbounding the ball, walking it up, all I've really seen from them is 77. And then driving kick, pick and pop.
Get into the blender.
Just get into the blender early. So I think that's where the league is going, whereas we're not about to run 3 pin down. Like this guy not about to run from the wing under 3 pin downs underneath the baseline. Why nobody else moving, and you go the defense not letting you do that no more. It's not letting you do that. It's got to be random. It has to be practiced though every day. That random.
That's what fans I don't think understand. Why are they running anything? Well, if they run, they're switching everything. You're back to ISO.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So how do they know what to do? Well, we do it 5-on-0 every day. Talk through it. See on the film. What was your decision here?
Yeah, I think it's great coaching too. Rick knows his personnel. His personnel, how his team is built, is not isolation guys that can beat you off the bounce every possession, or it's not going to be PPR is going to be so low. He knows that if we can get one trigger, which is now creates the blender, now that works for our team. It's not going to be run a 77. Okay, now they done switched. Okay, everybody get flat. Let me back up, and then try to go ISO. Yeah, we know Tyrese can beat the 5 off the dribble. We know that. Benedict Mathurin, we know he can do it from time to time. But for their team, for their PPR to be 120, like we've been seeing, it's not going to be a steady diet of isolation. No matter which action they run. So like you saying, the blur screens, the touch screens, the flare screens on the opposite side, the pitch, but we're running a DHO slip out, the short rolls to the pop. So Miles Turner, and it is so not random.
Right.
Everyone thinks it's
practice. It's practice, but it's just it's hard to it's organized.
Organized chaos.
It's not scripted.
All right, I'm just going to leave it there. So the first thing I want to mention is the complete disservice that both LeBron and then KD followed up, and even Steve Nash, all three of them didn't acknowledge the Indiana Pacers' ability to get out in transition and to get incredibly easy points just through hustle and running the floor. They don't want to talk about Siakam getting out after rebounds. They don't want to talk about Halliburton pushing the pace or TJ McConnell or Miles Turner. They don't want to do that because that's not technical, right? They're trying to make themselves look and sound technical. But the truth is the reason why the Pacers had such a high efficiency, high octane offense was they were getting 20 and 30 points a night in transition, where the defense can't set in. Because the truth is the Pacers don't have the isolation scores. The guys that are talking here are right about that. That's why they ran the floor. That's why their efficiency was so high. They were getting easy points in transition when the defense wasn't back and the defense was out of position and unable to stop the fast break. But they didn't want to talk that. Now, to address what they were talking about previously, and you listen to what they were saying about organized chaos, the thing that they really need to make sure, and this is where this podcast, Mind the Game, where they could take these opportunities what they call organized chaos. What they're trying to tell you is that you have to make the defense move. That's really what this is about. And some players are so skillful. They're so skilled. Even if the defense moves with them, they could still score, right? Like KD's one of those guys. LeBron's one of those guys, being able to get to the rim. But you have to make the defense move. If the defense gets to sit in, they're not working. If they're just sitting in, they're not working hard, they're not expending energy. They're setting and dictating how the offense is running. You want the offense on offense to dictate what's happening in the play. If the defense is dictating what the offense is doing, you're screwed. You're not going to score. So the offense needs to move the ball. That's what the Pacers did. They moved the ball to force the defense to have to move. That fluidity, that movement, forces people to make mistakes and be out of position. They talked about 3 pin downs. They talked about all these screens. That is to create space between defenders and the guy who's handling the ball or moving off of the ball, whatever. It's creating offensive opportunities, small windows of opportunities to either get a shot or to get to the rim. And that's basically how those types of offenses are running. And it's true, the Pacers don't have the personnel. They don't have the players that can do things alone in isolation. So they play to their strengths, which is all of those things, forcing the defense to move, getting them out of position. You're stretching the defense around. That's what this is all about. Getting guys out of position, putting them in a position of weakness to where you can get easier looks. If your guys can't score in isolation, it's going to be hard to score. That's what they really need to emphasize in this segment. So, Mind the Game podcast, where you're supposed to be analyzing the technicals and explaining things, they missed opportunities to do that. And damn it, Kobe Bryant was right. He called it accidental basketball. He was right. And you know what? Kobe's no longer with us. I, of course, want to take this opportunity to give him his flowers. There is nobody in the last 20 years as cerebral, as studious, and when it comes to basketball IQ, there is nobody who is so criminally overlooked in terms of basketball IQ and intellect. He runs circles around these guys. And you know what? Kevin Durant's a smart player, and LeBron is too. But they are not Kobe being Bryant. He was talking about this kind of stuff a long time ago, and these guys weren't. So, flowers for Kobe. God bless the dead. And he was right. And now these guys are busy trying to catch up. Anyways, let me know what you think about all this. Drop me some comments. Like, share, subscribe. Check out some more videos. We'll see you guys soon on the next one.